Today, AI tools can produce and translate texts within seconds. But can they truly recreate the aesthetic resonance, emotional depth, stylistic touch, and cultural nuance of literary works? In an era where artificial intelligence translates with effortless fluency, we are forced to ask a deeper question. What happens to the soul of literature when translating a language becomes statistically predictable? And what is missed that makes literary language truly alive? As the Asian Regional Center of the International Federation of Translators, FIT Asia is proud to continue its online lecture series, exploring translation practice, professional development, and the future of language work in the AI era. In this upcoming lecture, we are honored to welcome Dr. Sugeng Hariyanto to give us an enlightening speech on how to balance style and convey meaning in literary translation. Dr. Sugeng Hariyanto is an Indonesian translator, translation scholar, and academician based in Malang, East Java, Indonesia. He serves as a senior faculty member at State Polytechnic of Malang. Also, he is the founder of Transcomunica Kencana and head of the Committee for Competency and Certification at the Association of Indonesian Translators, HPI. Dr. Sugeng Hariyanto's upcoming lecture, Translating Literature, Balancing Style, Conveying Meaning, and Eclectic Approach to Literary Translation, will address the contemporary aesthetic paradox through a defense of the human layer in translation. Moving beyond conventional static theories, he will introduce the Literary Eclectic Approach, a multidimensional framework anchored on linguistic, literary, functional, and cultural ethical pillars. By integrating hermeneutics, structuralism, stylistics, and semiotics into a systematic pre-translation pipeline, this model operationalizes creative rewriting across prose, poetry, and drama. Ultimately, Dr. Sugeng Hariyanto invites us to rethink the role of human translators in the AI era. AI does not replace the human translators. Rather, it liberates human translators to step into their role as active creative co-authors, curators of style, and guardians of emotional resonance across cultural boundaries.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, colleagues and friends across Asia and beyond. Welcome back to the FIT Asia Global Online Lecture Series. I'm Professor Difeng Li, Distinguished Professor of Translation Studies at the University of Macau, and also board member in charge of research at the FIT Asia Center. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to our third session. So if you joined us for our inaugural lecture last December, you'll remember we opened this series with Mr. Amin Gao, who mapped the new contours of translation practice and governance in China. He reminded us that when technology falls silent, the human voice must not. So if you were with us again in March for our second session, you heard Mr. Ravi Kumar chart a practical roadmap for turning language skills into sustainable, like a professional enterprise in the AI era, so that we can equip freelancers and trainers with the business acumen for the profession, and that our profession now demands, actually. So today we continue the same conversation, but we turn our gaze to a domain where the human element has always been most fiercely defended, that is literary translation. So in the era of rapid artificial intelligence development, AI tools can achieve linguistic fluency with startling speed. Yet, as we all sense, fluency is not the same as resonance. Statistical predictability cannot replicate the deliberate linguistic deviation, the cultural nuance, the emotional undertone that makes literature literature. The question before us tonight, or today, or this afternoon, is not whether machines can translate, But whether translation without a human soul can ever truly be literary. So our keynote speaker is uniquely positioned to address this question. Dr. Sugeng Hariyanto is a translator, translation scholar, and an academician. He is senior faculty member at the State Polytechnic of Penang in Indonesia, founder of Transcommunica, Kakana, and head of the Committee for Competency and Certification at the Association of Indonesian Translators. So beyond his institutional roles, Dr. Hariyanto has spent his career defending what he calls the human layer in translation, moving beyond static theories to develop a multi-dimensional framework that anchors literary translation in linguistic, literary, functional, and cultural ethical pillars. So tonight, Dr. Hariyanto will introduce his literary eclectic approach, a model that integrates hermeneutics, structuralism, stylistics, and semiotics into a systematic pre-translation pipeline. He will argue that AI does not replace the human translator, rather it liberates us to step into our role as active, creative co-authors, curators of style, guardians of emotional resonance across cultural boundaries. So this is precisely the kind of voice Fit Asia was built to amplify. Long-range vision married to frontline experience, theoretical rigor grounded in the lived practice of translation. So to every student, teacher, freelancer, and partner listening across time zones, settle in and open your minds and let us stream wisdom across continents once again. So Dr. Hariyanto, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Professor Lee. Good evening, good afternoon, or maybe good morning somewhere else. Our esteemed colleagues, fellow translators and scholars of translation, I am really happy and have a profound honor to be here with you all to share my ideas on literary translation. Now, allow me to share my PowerPoint slide. Yes, okay, let's start. The title is Translating Literature. Yes, this is our main theme. Balancing style and conveying meaning is the subtitle. Style will become something very important in literature because this is what make it different from other types of text. And meaning or content is, of course, this is very important because it is something to be said, to be stated, to be expressed by the writer, and what the translators have to convey in another language into another culture. AI, and then we know what AI is, and especially in our industry. And yeah, a mixed response. Some are happy and some are not happy because it decreases the volume of the works and so on. Okay, but let's face it, AI is here, and AI is getting smarter and smarter, can handle many kinds of text. But related to literary translations, we have two paradoxes. The first is about fluency versus deviation. In the first paradox, then first of all, about fluency. We know that AI is very quick in looking for equivalences of words, expression, and then also it can produce a very smooth sentences, paragraphs, and so on. But in literature, smoothness is not something that always be the priority. The writer of the text sometimes or even often writes the sentences against the what is that the grammatical ones. For example, we are talking about the syntax, the structure of the sentence, and so on. It is made into something not grammatical on purpose to draw attention, for example, or to create a very unique style. But AI have a tendency to make it smoother than the original. This is the first paradox. Now we go to the second paradox. With the huge data that AI have, then information, any information contained in the source text can be transferred very quickly and completely into the target language. Then believe me, this is real. No information can be left out. And but based on several studies, for example, the one that I shown you, and also the other one that I presented in our Teflon seminar last year, AI worked often leave out as the emotional content. It erased the emotional vibrations. But this emotional vibration is actually something that we should not be erased, because this is what makes, again, literary works different from other types of text. Now, we know AI is useful, can find equivalence very quickly, but AI also has has the tendency of smoothing out something is not grammatical, and then also cannot transfer the emotional contents. So what is the way to use AI but producing a good literary translation? A scholar says that there are three ways here. The first way is carefully design the prompts. I have tried to carefully design the prompt, but for some cases, it also cannot help with the emotional content. The second, we give a specific training on literary corpora to the machines. And the third is human AI collaboration. Number one, number two is not our work for everyday life, because our field is translation. So we will focus on the third possibility, that is human AI collaboration. Now, about this collaboration, then we want to put humans in the loop again as the main controller of the process, and somebody who can be responsible for the last product of our translation. So the idea is this is a collaboration between human and AI. We leave the mechanical labor, like looking for the equivalence for expressions, words, idioms, and sort of things. And we, the human translators, will take a new role. Actually, it's not a new role, uh, because with the conventional method, we also use, we also do this role. This role is the curator of literary style. A curator of a literary style focuses on discovering, organizing, and preserving the aesthetic and rhetorical qualities of literary works. So that will be our role. Now, therefore, we need a new framework to work with that kind of goal. So I use I draw my thoughts on three types of theories. The first is transition theories. Second is literary theories. And the third, of course, literary transition theories. In transition theories, we can read general transition theories like from Nida, from Newmark, and anybody else there. We have the foundation, what is a good translation, what translation should be, and what's their indication on the transition of literary works. And number two, literary theories is needed to make us not lose our points. That is, we are transferring the beauty of literary works. And then the third, literary transition theories is important because focusing only on transition theories, sometimes we miss something that is precious in literary works. Okay, then the next, I will skip this. This is the result of the research stating that the conventional theories is not sufficient for literary translation. And from literary theories, we can draw on theories from hermeneutics, structuralism, stylistics, and semiotics. From hermeneutics, we try to capture the author's intent and deep souls. And this is what we have to do the first time when we read the work of art, the literary work, or any text that we want to translate. And from structuralism and literary theories, we know that every piece of work, whether this is novel, short stories, poems, and also drama, we have a certain structure. And therefore, observing the structure is also important that will give us insights later in our work. Stylistic, this is the identification of unique language patterns that I said, for example, something that is put not like the correct grammar on purpose. And semiotics, this is the cultural symbols and intertextuality. Well, you can see from my screen for the literary transition theories, we have from Andre Lefebvre, Susan Pasnet, and Towns to Theo Hermans. Then we exactly know now that it is expected for literary translation, we do not follow black or white taxonomy. This is something delicate, something that is not only carrying the characteristic of one genre. First of all, translation is the form of rewriting. So we don't go for word, but this is the writing of the content and so on. Well, I will skip this. Now we go to the eclectic literary translation approach. This is the idea that I want to share here. Is like this one. The operational process model is going like this. The first, the translator will find or define the scopus, the purpose of the translation. So defining the goal of the translation, identifying the target audience. So if we go for any other theories, so we can ask for the translation commissioners about the goals and so on. But anyway, the goal and the target audience must be identified in the first step. The second, this is what I propose here, doing the analysis of the text using fluencies. And after we got everything there, after we do the analysis, then we will have the imperative or the translation suggestion, and then we do the rewriting. We do some kind of creative execution and reconstruction, and finally we do self-editing or self-audit. Now, maybe where is the AI? The AI is at the beginning of step 3. At the beginning of rewriting, So the first step in rewriting, of course, we will have the first draft, and then we let the AI to create or produce the first draft. Now, the 4 points is this. As I said, we have hermeneutics, we have structuralism, we have stylistic, and we have semiotics. And now in hermeneutics, we try to identify the meaning, the message that the original writers want to express through the literary works. And then in structuralism, for example, we are talking about a poem or poetry, then we have to identify the type of the poetry, the stanza, how many lines, rhyme scheme, alliteration, assonance, figure of speech, and so on. That's with the stylistic. So then, for example, in the structuralism, if we are talking about sonnets, though, we have several stanza. In semiotics, we are talking about the content. The content of the literary works have something, maybe mentioning about object and the object becoming the symbols of a concept or symbols of something else. Well, then this is the process stage. Even though I put it in order, but it can be not in order. In the practice, it doesn't. For example, textual analysis 1, 2, and 3 doesn't in that order. Well, now we will move on. So this is for hermeneutic, formalism, and structuralism, stylistic, and semiotics. Okay, so now in rewriting, because a literary work is an independent, complete, integrated work. So we never translate sentence by sentence, of course, word by word, but we will consider the micro segments. If we are translating the prose, at least we will take a paragraph as one unit. In poetry, we take stanza as one unit because sometimes if we only take a line, if we see if we have enjambment, then the line is cut into 2. In drama, this is about the scene. Now, this is the example of the application. If you see the picture, this is what I have in the second slide. Now, how to apply this idea in the translation of a poetry? This is from John Hollander, 1969. The title is Swan and Seduce, or sometimes it is called Task. If we see this, we see the silhouette of a swan, and then the horizontal line is the surface of the water, and down that, this is the reflection of the swan. So in this very example, the form, the silhouette, the shape itself is the meaning. This is an extreme example in literary translation, where we can find that linguistic is not the only thing that we need to consider. Now, let's go step by step. The goal of translating that is producing an equivalent literary text acceptable in the target culture. And in my example, this afternoon, the target audience is Indonesian readers. So the language is Indonesian. In the Indonesian target culture, we have poetry, we have drama, we have short story, we have novel. So there is nothing new about the genre of this literary text. But I need to point out here, at the end of the poems that we want to translate, there will be a concept or a myth of swan song, and which is actually does not exist in Indonesian culture. But the Indonesian poets a few decades ago wrote a beautiful poems and translated into several languages called Swan Song or Nyanyian Angsa. So this, I understand that the Indonesian reader will know somehow what Swan Song is. Now, I borrowed this from Jan Hus, Literary Translation Principle. In order to translate, it is still related with corpus. I have to pay attention to three things. That is faithfulness, expressiveness, and elegance. Faithful means accurately and truthfully convey the original meaning of the source text. And expressive means I have to produce a clear and understandable translation, achieving natural and smooth communication in the target language, so that the message is fully comprehended by the reader. The message is not only the theme, but this is the emotional resonance, the beauty that rings in our ears. Elegance means we have to maintain a certain literary beauty and stylistic refinement that appealing aesthetically and culturally to the target audience. In our examples here is Indonesian readers. We have known before in a concrete poetry, in our example, Swan and Shadows, form is content. So we cannot just think that, okay, we can leave out the form or the shape of the swans, and then we make another types of poems. Then this is the analysis. This is the result of the analysis of the poem from hermeneutics, structuralism, stylistic, semiotics. Now, from the hermeneutics point of view or dimension, we know that the poet wants to express a situation, this is in task, where there are many layers of meaning can be seen or can be obtained from reading the poems. And here, the textual evidence in the poem is we have the transition of time from physical presence of the swans, of the dusk, and then also of the pool, to a memory that is reflected in the forms, in the shape, is the reflection of the swan itself. Then we have the implications or the translator's imperative, deploying elevated literary diction in the target language to sustain the melancholic weight of the twilight, avoiding flat or strictly literal word transfers. So this is the point from hermeneutics. The point from structuralism, we can see that. Then we have to create the shape also. In stylistic, we have to recreate the sounds play, the figure of speech, and also many other things related to style. From semiotics, here we have many layers of science. Yeah. Here, for example, water that acts as a mirror of human consciousness. For example, through the expression pool of opened eye, and then the swan as the signifier of the presence, and then the shadow as the signifier of absence and memory. And who, if we translate it literally, For example, into Bahasa Indonesia, this is kolam, and it does not signify the thing that it signifies in English. So we have to have a symbolic modulation later uh, when we uh, when we are in the rewriting steps. Now, in rewriting, as I said, we will leave the mechanical labor to AI. In our example here, we have ChatGPT and Gemini. We will see. I ask ChatGPTs with this prompt. Uh, I attach this picture of the poem, and the prompt goes like, translate this poem into Indonesian. Keep the aesthetic values and the typography, including the shape. Okay, and then enter here what we have in this one. The ChatGPT answer is this one. So we see here ChatGPT returns with the form of a poetry consisting of 4 stanzas. While the original one, it is the silhouettes of swans and its reflection underwater. So it doesn't pass the first thing in structuralism. The first thing also from hermeneutics, that a meaning can be expressed not only through words, but also through these forms or shapes. I will not discuss about the quality of the transition here from ChatGPT. I will present the result of the work, which is converting the shape of swans into the original stanzas of a poem. Now, I go to, now this is the back translation of ChatGPT. If the back translation is the word-for-word translation, this is the literal translation of the translation by ChatGPT. If you read the back translation, for example, task above hangs water that is noisy, here also heavy, then what? So the meaning is not transferred. The meaning is not transferred here. Maybe ChatGPT is confused in identifying which one is the subject of the sentence, the verb, and so on. Why? Because there is no almost no punctuation here. Not almost, there is no punctuation here. No comma, no full stop, no whatever punctuation it is. Now, I go to Gemini. Okay, with the same picture, I put to Gemini, ask to translate, and then this is the result. Gemini cannot also maintain the format, but Gemini try, maybe try to maintain somehow. And then I asked Gemini, no, please copy the shape of the swan and the reflection in your translation. And this is the result. We agree that it is far from the original. I mean, the shape of the swan. In the original, the swan is facing left, and now maybe the swan is facing us now, and by Gemini at the second attempt. But the reflection, it says something else. It's not really reflects the upper part. This is what is done by Gemini. Now, if we do the back translation from Gemini's result, we can see this. Dusk above water, hanging loud flies. We can still understand that. I mean, this is like the original. Here, so gray, then what, when, where, in us appear. So it's starting, it starts to lose the meaning, because if we see here in the original one, what, for example, what it is correct is what followed by when, but what is the question? and then answered by the lines next to what. That is, what a pale signal will appear, and when, soon before its shadow fades. So we see that it also cannot make the meaning understandable in the target language. Well, then now I try to, this is my manual work, to put the result of ChatGPT into like this one, into the shape like this. But we see the one that I put boxes on, and some are missing, is actually the parts that I need to revise. Then this is the second. Okay, and now this is the result of my work. So the first draft is done by ChatGPT or Gemini, and then informed by the analysis of the four lenses. Then I try to revise, maintain the styles, and then adjust all the things so it can be enjoyed by the target readers. Now let's see the shape. Here, the shapes is, well, almost the same, if we cannot say exactly the same. To make this almost the same, then of course I need to, as I say, do some kind of recreation, creative recreation or creative transformation, and also say make or replace the signs with the we have the signs, so it rings to the ears to Indonesian readers, and also revise the grammar. Here, the blue colored text is the one that I changed. From if we see there, senja, of course, first senja di atas air menggantung, si senja di atas air. Okay, it should be stopped here. Menggantung di sana, so dusk above the water. Menggantung di sana, hanging there. Here I add in hanging there. There di sana in bahasa Indonesia di sana. Why? To fill in the space, so I can create the similar formats, the similar shape. This is something that I cannot do yet. And then here, Rioh Lalat. So actually it is one phrase. So I translated into Lalat Lalat Bising. This is I transpose the position of the noun and adjective. And sini, I put T because this is adverb of place. So I put T. If I do not put T here, only sini, and I can also actually add in some extra space to fill in the space for the neck of the swan. I can do that, but sini is imperative thing. It is a verb. Sini, or come here, but it must be here, in here, di sini. So I put in there for the syntax. And down, begitu, also, okay, also, so is begitu, and then O is deleted here because I have to adjust it with the space. And down there, blah, blah, blah. Here we have apa, and then isyarat pucat kan tampak. The original translation by Gemini is isyarat. Isyarat is the literal translation of sign. But if I keep the word isyarat in Bahasa Indonesia, the signified, the reference is something else. So I cannot keep the word sign, the word isarat here. I have to refer to the thing that it really refers. What is that? It is mentioned there many times, object. So a pale signal will appear. So this is a pale object. So I translate it into sebuah benda, an object. And pucat kan menjelma, it follows the literal translation. With timana here, it is the same with sini for the sake of the syntax. And here, di sini telaga mata yang terbuka. And the original is kolam. I mean, Gemini's word is kolam. The original word is pool. The literal translation of pool is kolam. But kolam do not reflect something melancholy. Kolam is so ordinary in Bahasa Indonesia. So I have to find words that evoke something melancholic, poetic in sounds. And I have the word telaga. The literal translation into English is lake. Here we have telaga mata yang terbuka. That is kolam mata yang terbuka, full of open eyes. Here, if we go to the meaning, telaga mata yang terbuka, pool of open eyes, actually, John Hollander's move from the real pool to the pool of our perception in our eyes or in our memory. So this is the ambiguity or the deep layers of meaning that might not be caught by AI. Now we go down. We have the same dari tempat for grammatical thing, and then here object benda the same, and then I choose the word here mendedah expose the literal translation, but the original Gemini work is pengenalan. So we go on and on to identify, analyze every choice of words by Gemini to cross it back to the results of our analysis. And then we have to adjust, we have to change, or we have to modify the words that presented there. And here, as I said about if Swan sang this about the science also from semiotic things, intertextuality, about nyanyian angsa. So I can put nyanyian angsa here, not because we also have the same myth in Indonesia, but we have already read poems by Rendra talking about swan songs with the same spirit, with the same message of the myth. That is, it is believed that swans is a quiet animal and only sing once before she dies or he dies. Okay, now here we have, that's what we have now. Looks the same. Then this is, after that, the last thing is self-editing or self-audit, and I refer back to the results of my analysis. So here I will check whether that the required translation imperative or suggestion has been fully implemented or not. So I will revise again and again, and then check and recheck until finally I find that all the translation imperative or translation suggestion produced by our four-lens analysis can be achieved fully here. Okay, this one, as you can read from the screen, if it's already been achieved, we checked it, okay, and then that's all. That's all. And Yeah, quoting Paul Valery, a work is never truly finished, it is just abandoned. And therefore, in literary translation, I believe no literary translation is ever truly finished. It is merely released to the wider world to begin its eternal dialogue with the new readers. 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, I published the translation of Singaporeans' poems into English, published by a publisher in Kuala Lumpur. After today, I read again, I think, oh no, it can be improved. And that's what I mean by literary transitions is ever not, is never truly finished. And that's from me, Professor Lee. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Hariyanto, for this very richly layered and deeply inspiring lecture. You have shown us the literary translation is not a problem to be solved by algorithms, but by an art to be really practiced with intention, within theory, and with heart. I think your literary eclectic approach gives us a vocabulary and also a method for defending the human layer in translation. Not really by rejecting technology, but by knowing exactly where it ends and where we begin as human translators, right? So, right, okay, friends and colleagues, the floor is now open for questions. So if you are with us on Tencent or Team, please click raise hand on the bottom left, or simply turn on your mic and speak out. Okay, if you are on another platform or prefer to type, you can drop your question in the chat box. But make sure your questions are brief and really legible. Okay, we have about 20 minutes, so probably one question at a time, and then keep it sharp, keep it short. All right, so let's get the conversation going. See, who would like to go first? Do we have any? Let's see. Okay, if we haven't got anyone to have a ready question yet, maybe I could sort of ask you a question here. Like you argue that AI liberates translators to become curators of style and guardians of emotional resonance. But like in markets where speed and cost, dominate, how do we convince clients and publishers that this human layer is worth paying for?
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Lee. We have several types of text, and we have business text, legal text, and many other types of text, and one of them is literary text. When I translate the marketing text, for example, or maybe automotive text, for example, the clients want it very quick because they race with the time to go into the market. And what they expect? They expect is in automatic translation. I have been many years translating automotive text. Their expectation is a text that the potential users of the machine can understand what is the advantage and what if something goes wrong. So even though it's not beautiful, it doesn't matter. Number two is this is just an example in marketing text. In marketing text, hotel marketing text, for example, the most important thing is beautiful language. I can adjust many things, but it is beautiful and it draw the interest of the potential readers, and quickly, because the hotel should be open soon, for example. And it is rational for them to have something back very quickly. Uh, Now, about literature, about literary works, which is created to stay for a long time, from generations to generations, because it contains something very precious, something that people from our generation and the next generation can learn from. And it is encapsulated nicely, well and nicely in a nice styles. In that case, we are not marketing our product. We are not pursuing this in our example is sales, but we are pursuing a living heritage to our later generation, and it needs something the best. Number two, if we are talking about MTPE, MTPE, machine translation post editing, there are many types, at least two types: light editing or full editing. If we want publishable, we need a full editing. We could deep down into the message, into the styles, into the science, and everything. So to produce that kind of thing, we cannot just do light editing and from the AI work or machine translation work. As I just shown, uh, in the face of this type of poetry, AI cannot transfer the meaning well, let alone the style, let alone the shape. So, with the purpose in our mind, it is worth. I mean, it is worth trying to do this thing. It is worth paying the energy and the resources, because we are leaving something beautiful and worthwhile for our generations to the world. That's my answer, Professor. Sorry, you are still muted?
Right, great. I was just saying that that was a great answer. And then now I actually have a question in the chat box here. The question goes like this. Hi, Professor. Do you think AI will finally replace human translators and interpreters? Is this a matter of time? Thanks. You got the question?
Yes, yes, yes. I have the question many times when I have a talk in a seminar or conference, always the same question, the same question. Yes, if you notice my one of my slides, it shows that one research found that AI is growing more creative. For example, if it is tested to mention new ways to do things, it it is better than human being nowadays, generative AI. But when talking about the emotion, I mean, how to choose the words that can put the emotion across is something that is not yet achieved by AI. And the core of the question is, will AI replace the human translators? Will AI replace the human interpreters? In some cases or some ways, yes, I believe. I was talking about, we talk about light editing and full editing. And now the same thing about translation and interpretation. What is the purpose of the particular case? For example, if the interpretation is for somebody who wants to know or want to talk to the shopkeeper, then AI will do. But if, for example, the interpretation is for example, the delegates from US and Iran, will we leave it to AI? No, this is too high of a stake. And what about the translation? The same thing, the same thing. So it's a matter of the level of importance of the text. If it is only okay, our managers want to know what is the papers are talking today, then we can leave it to AI. But when we are doing for the masterpiece of literature, for example, or we are doing for very important proceeding in court, then we will not leave it to AI. In short, we can differentiate case by case. Now, the next question usually coming up. So what we should do? Okay, what we should do? Well, the landscape is changing, and we should change too. When I say we move up our role, we elevate our role into curator of style, guardians of meaning and emotion. This is the new role that we have to emphasize in front of the market. Several years before I talk about boutique translation, at the beginning of machine translation, I talk about boutique translation, something that machine translation cannot change. So again, the point is things are changing, and we should change to see the same thing from a different perspective to produce something might be similar, but with this different reason.
All right, that's great. And here I have a question which is sort of along the same line, but a little bit different. So it goes like this. Hello, Professor. I have a question. Can AI imitate, emulate, or recognize a translator's stylistic fingerprint?
Well, this is a very difficult question. Logically, yes, but it needs time. Logically, yes. It depends on the data. So, for example, Professor Lee writing a poems, then you have a signature style over there. And how many writers have a distinctive style? And it should be put into the database. And then later, it will try to get the data for the translation and then match it. So, well, theoretically, it will be there, at least near there, but I don't know. But I believe there is something that machine cannot imitate, cannot experience. We experience the grief, sadness, happiness, and we know exactly how to express it, how to express our grief in front of our friends, in front of our close friend, in front of our relative, in front of our colleagues. There's different way of saying things. And I believe it will be difficult for AI. That's what I see from now. For example, from the research on AI can be creative, but cannot imitate the broken grammar that is done on purpose.
Right. And another question is here. I'm a young translator, and I believe there are many young translators in the audience, just like me. Say, if a young translator today asks you whether to invest their energy in mastering AI tools or in deepening their literary sensibility, what would you advise and why?
Okay. Okay. As I indicated in my talk, we have to have the two. Okay. First of all is the literary things. I mean the literary theories, and then second, invest our time and money maybe in AI, because first we cannot. Okay. The task of literary translator is to transfer the beauty, the meaning, message, emotional content into the target language. If we are not sensitive to that, then how can we rewrite, producing the similar beauty, similar depth of emotion, and all the other characteristics? So we need to know and train ourselves in literary theory and especially literature, reading, being sensitive to beauty and so on. And then, as I said, in rewriting steps, so we have read, analyze, get the meaning, the beauty, and so on, and then rewrite. In the rewriting steps, then we have to start with the draft. The first draft is usually this is the literal translation. We do not know every single word that we want to translate. Then we can open the dictionary. We can search on the internet. But AI or machine can do this very quickly, the basic things. So we invest our times to make a prompt, how to ask AI or machine to do this until their limits. And then we read again, we see the results of our analysis, and then we apply the results of our analysis, the suggestion of the result or the implication of the results, and then we will produce the last one. I mean, the final work, even though it's never final. I think that's way, Professor.
Okay, great. And then another question. As head of the competency and certification at HPI, how do you see the role of professional associations evolving? Should we be, say, certifying not just linguistic competence, but also the kind of creative and ethical judgment you have described just now?
Thank you very much for the question. This is for the association. Associations like FIT, FIT, that is, and also Down Indonesian Translator Association, and similar associations has a responsibility to the member and also to the clients or to other stakeholders. Why? First of all, why need the certification from our association? Because we want to tell other stakeholders or prospective clients that the holder has the competency in doing that particular thing. Maybe he or she has already got the certification from something else, but from our association, we have developed a unique based on our experience, and also we have a team to score the result. This is from the practitioner and also from academician. So we guarantee that every single certificates that we issue is the real reflection of the holder competency. This is important in the era where maybe many parties issue certificates about competency. But as a professional association of translators, we know exactly who we are, I mean, the members, and who know exactly our markets, our stakeholders, what they expect from us. So we design our test, we score our test based on that kind of perspective. Does it answer the question? Or? Sorry, your mic is still muted.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to make sure that you are not interrupted. I mean, these are all brilliant questions, and your answers are very much to the point. So, really, thank you so much. I think it's a bit over an hour now. So I think probably it's a good time for us to conclude today's lecture. So many thanks again for all the questions and answers. And that actually really nicely brings us to the end of our QA session. So I think so to briefly summarize, I think today Dr. Hariyanto has guided us through the aesthetic paradox of literary translation in the age of AI. And he has reminded us that when machines deliver fluency, it is the human translator who must deliver resonance, deviation, and soul. So let his framework of literary eclectic approach remind us that every text we translate and every cultural boundary we cross is an act of creative co-authorship that no algorithm can replicate. So to every student, teacher, and freelancer and partner listening tonight, your next sentence matters, right? Keep reading widely as advised by Professor Hariyanto, and keep theorizing boldly and keep the human heartbeat in the loop. So our next webinar will take place in about a month or two, and same Fit Asia channels, same global time slot. To stay in the circle, follow us on YouTube and Bilibili and Fit Asia on Facebook. So take a minute now to subscribe to one or all of these channels. Okay. So finally, let us put our hands together again for Dr. Sugeng Hariyanto for his inspiring keynote. Although we may not be able to hear you clapping, we're just visualizing or imagining that you are clapping for this wonderful lecture, just to show our appreciation for Dr. Hariyanto. So, and also a big thank you to the Association of the Indonesian Translators, and also our Fit Asia team here at the center, who have dedicated their time and efforts to help me put together this wonderful seminar. To all of you who participated today, thank you so very much for your presence and your questions. So from all of us at Fit Asia Center, again, you have a good day. Stay safe and keep translating the future. We'll see you online again very soon. That's all for our third webinar.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much, Dr. Hariyanto. It's really, really a pleasure to have you speaking at our Fit Asia webinar. We'll stay in touch.
Thank you, Professor Lee.
Right, thanks a lot. So bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you.